Hello, I'm Barracks. This is a demo video for the Castlevania Aria Randomizer. Specifically, I'll be running a seed with the preset Tournament 2023. What that means is that the settings are Shop Sanity, Boss Shuffle, Area Shuffle, Stat Rando, Soul Compass, Palette Rando, Objective Books, I think that might be it. And then just general items are randomized, enemy drops are randomized. Oh, starting gear is also randomized. I'll go over each of those as we see them. Ignore that. I may have messed up the first time I tried to do this. So you'll have to believe that the first 5 minutes of the seed didn't happen. But let's get started. Right off the bat, we have Hammer here. We also have a randomized weapon. It was the Onikiri. But in this case, we're selling it because in the shop is a Durandal. Normally you check what he's selling before you sell your stuff, but I have memory. Durandal's a really good weapon, so it's good to have it immediately. And Ranginus, though it deals more damage, it is a heavy weapon, which means that when I land using it, there's still the end lag of its 45 frame animation. Whereas Durandal, if I land, it cancels the animation. So generally, until I get backdash, light weapons are going to be my go-to, whereas heavy weapons are a lot more it's a lot more of a question when you want to use them, and it's usually for boss fights. Now Stat Rando, we can see on the bottom right, it says ZMB plus HP minus AT, weak to Bat. This is Zombie. All of the names are going to be messed up unless they have not been changed at all, which is going to be unlikely. These stat changes can roll plus 40 to plus 100%, minus 20 to minus 50%, I believe. I am checking that. I have it written down, so I would hate to be wrong. Plus 40 to plus 100, minus 20 to minus 50. Yep. Awesome. They can increase in HP, they can increase in defense, attack, and then there are 9 elements and they can be either weak to or resistant to. This is also Panther First Rando, we just got it right there. Off to the left, we can see Soul Compass. It's the blue number next to my HP and MP bar. In this case, it says 2. We can't actually do anything in that area without Malphus or another form of vertical progression, but it's probably going to be Malphus. So we're going to move on through the rest of corridors now. The thing about Stat Rando is not only that any enemy can be surprisingly hard to kill, surprisingly dangerous if you run into it, which is the common strategy with Panther, but also it makes the boss fights a lot more interesting, because now, say you picked up a Gungnir somewhere along your travels, and this Legion, which is normally only weak to Holy, is now weak to Lightning as well. That Gungnir is going to be a really strong option for that fight when it normally isn't quite as good. We're taking a save here to unlock a feature called Suspend, which I'll probably show off later. It's a way to re-enter a room where you entered it first. So basically teleporting back to the entranceway. Stat Rando also makes it really important to pick up some of the effect-causing weapons. So like Grunting or Milliken's Sword. Because if you poison an enemy that's weak to poison now, or turn them to stone, they will take double damage. So they're really good ways to make some fights like Julius or Graham go faster. That Hula Soul is required progression. It also lets us go underwater. For now, still don't have Malphus, so I'm just going to be moving on to the second half Castle Corridors. It's There's going to be some kind of progression either there or in the next area that we randomly connect to, which could either be Study, Floating Gardens, or Chapel, or Reservoir. There's actually many options. But point is, I'll get progression soon. Because there's not a lot of options without some form of vertical movement. And Skula movement without Malphus is not in logic. So the rando will not be expecting me to do anything with that. There we go, this should be Malphus. Nice. So that's double jump. It is probably the best soul in the game. If you don't find Malphus in a seed, say it gives you Giant Bat or Hippogriff, the two flight options instead, you're going to be a bit bummed out, because everyone is just so used to how to run around with Malphus that anything else just feels wrong. Chapel here is the second area. This is actually a vanilla entrance right now. Is this even randomized, you know? So the enemies here should not be able to randomize to be too strong. I still do not want to be hit by those boneheads any more than I have to be, because I did sell my armor to buy the Durandal. I'm going to be grabbing a lot of normally unnecessary items for safety. Stuff that I can sell in the shop to buy healing, as shop prices and sell prices for all items are randomized. Flying armor is sadly useless. It is a progression soul, normally the first one you get in the game, but it is just worse than Panther in almost all aspects. I'll be taking a save here because I don't know what area I'm going to enter after Manticore, and I don't want to lose too much progress. We saw there that enemy soul drops are randomized. Enemy, item drops are also randomized. So you could get the best sword in the game from a Ripper or a Fleaman if you got lucky. That said, they're still pretty uncommon, so you don't want to do it. We have our first book here. Books are important because this is also the first preset using objective rando. In this case, it doesn't matter. The book is telling us a soul to equip when we fight Graham 2, and an enemy that we can farm to get it, like normal. But objective rando also means that at least one of the 3 books will be telling me a boss that I have to kill, or more specifically a location where there is a boss which I must kill. And then I can proceed through Graham after having killed that boss and having the required souls equipped. What it did want me to have was Manticore, which is a very good blue soul. Arguably the best one in the game if you have a good int build. Well, definitely the best one in the game if you have a good int build. If you have a lot of MP as well. We also see the last check in Castle Corridor is a yellow book right there, but that is flight locked, so I cannot get it. So I'll just grab that T and then head back to Chapel to move on to the next area in this chain. As I mentioned, this is a Panther first preset, so we do have this dash soul from the beginning. This was chosen to make tournament matches go faster, but I've spent like 4 tournaments playing with Panther first, so I'm just more familiar with Panther movement than anything else. Forbidden area, I'm not the biggest fan of this area, and Dryads resist that damage type, so I'm just going to damage tank past them. But before I enter this room, I want to take a bit of a heal, because Gargoyles can be scary if they roll with plus attack. Thankfully they rolled with minus attack, and I didn't get hit by them. There's nothing to do in this area, even though I do have Skula, so I can check those, so I'm just coming back out to corridors. That is also one of the dead ends off the docket, so it's a bit safer to take some exits now that I won't be running into any locked dead ends from Forbidden. There is still a dead end in top 4, which we may run into, or we may come at it from the other side and be able to break the wall. For now, I'm going to be following the chain of logic, I think. So equipping Skula to take this path here. This should be in logic now that I have Skula and Malphus. And it takes me to the Clock Tower. At the bottom part of this area, there's a warp point, which I'll definitely grab for continuing on. But I can also do all of the checks here within reason. Some of them are a bit harder to do, just by virtue of being behind a spike tunnel that I'm not supposed to be able to get through. But we'll see how it goes. For now, just crossing this pendulum room. Classic. And here's that suspend feature. You can sleep, and then instead of having to cross that gap again, I'm now at the entryway. There's a trick you can do with these spikes, where you can kind of crouch slide under them, using Panther, so you can get through 2 of the 3 that way. Don't want to get hit by those Medusa heads if I can avoid it, and sadly, nothing in these bottom 2 checks, so this would have been a good area to save split, because there is a save point right above it. I'll be using a bit of healing just to stay safe, but we make it out of the spike tunnel just fine. Heartbeat, please. While using Skula, if you have Malphus, you can double jump in the water to swim up. Otherwise, you would be forced to unequip Malphus and float slowly to the surface, which is not fun. So it's not in logic. That might not be the exact reason why it's not in logic. Breakable wall here. If you don't have them all memorized, the color palette rando usually makes it pretty obvious where they are, because the breakable wall palettes will not have randomized. Huh. Bad gameplay. There we go. Alright, that's really good. So Giant Bat here is a form of flight. We need flight to beat the game, so it's good to have some. I have so much health, but that's fine. Now we're entering into a randomized boss fight. Normally this is death. In this case, it randomized to be the big golem boss. And it is plus attack. Minus HP though, so I just need to play it a bit safer than I am currently doing. There we go. And behind this is Flesh Golem. Big Golem gives Flesh Golem. Nice. Save after that, just to keep the levels, heal up. We'll head out now. There's another exit to Clock Tower on the top right, which I forget a lot. But hopefully I'll remember to come back there later. And we come our way to top floor. This is a flight-locked area, but I do have a Giant Bat. I just want to see what's on this side first, which is an area I am more interested in doing with my current gear. I do still have no armor, so I'm hoping that here I can find some armor, as well as grab the warp point, so that later I can warp back to top floor. I think the chain of progression is pointing me towards top floor. Oh, hey. So, as we saw in that blue book, it said Manticore Minotaur. The first name is the soul that I need, the Manticore soul, while the second name is the enemy from which I can farm said soul. In this case, I just got that Manticore drop randomly, without even needing to really farm from it, just killing the ones in my way. So that's really lucky. All required souls can be found. That's very good for my erogenous sphere if I need to kill like Legion or something. All the required souls and stuff can be found in canisters somewhere in the castle, but they can also be farmed. You do not need to farm them, and sometimes you actually can't if they're dropping from an enemy that is only in the chaotic realm. But normally you can farm them. So in this case, it was an enemy that already It just got lucky, basically. So I got that soul. I'm also going to be heading down to fight the boss here, even though I still don't know what bosses I'll need to kill for my objective. It's generally faster to just kill the bosses in your path. And worry about backtracking later, or searching for a new area if you haven't killed that boss yet. Plus, with stat rando, sometimes you can find a really easy fight like Blore, which will give you a lot of levels. And levels are especially important in the endgame for stat rando, as if the last 3 bosses randomize with something like plus defense plus HP, you can be in that fight for a while. I had a Marathon Seed go to the point where the Julius was plus defense plus HP, and it took upwards of 10 minutes to defeat, so I'll definitely be vetting this seed more thoroughly. So as you can see, the Soul Compass, there's 0 checks left here, but I'm still heading down for that boss. Not only can I get levels, but also if it's Headhunter or Death, I can get a shop upgrade. And since the shop is not random, or the shop is completely randomized, there's no waiting to it, I could get some really good gear from that. Sadly, it is great armor, so I guess I'll just hope for a piece of armor behind great armor. I got some pudding. I'll take it. So all things considered, not a bad dance hall. I did get that Manticore soul, but that was honestly about it. A lot of other souls that I don't know if I'll need yet. But I will be heading over... nah. Actually... yeah, I think I'll head back to top floor here. There is an exit to the top of Dance Hall which I could take. But instead I'm gonna grab the warp in top floor if I can. Oh hey, there's the Manticore Soul. So that would be normally where I would find it if I hadn't gotten that random drop. Let me take a healing item here. I shouldn't take much more damage in top floor. I'm pretty used to this area. This Aramis has a lot of health, and I did not read its stats. There we go. Yo, my first piece of armor. Okay, very nice. Going from 10 defense to 30, so I'm taking a lot less damage from things here. I do still want to be careful, so I'm actually going to take a bit of a safety heal. Don't want to get hit by a plus attack lubricant or something, which could do upwards of 200 damage to me right now. Instead, lubricants resist every ailment known to man. Like, those are some beefy guys. All the resistances. There we go. Messed up my luring pattern a bit, but we made it work. Succubus is minus attack, so I'm just going to tank straight through it. Still did 50 damage, very cool. And tapping the save here for safety reasons, mostly. 3 more major checks here. These checks could actually be behind the Grand Boss fight. Which means that they would not be actually required checks. I wouldn't have to go somehow find my way to behind Graham to pick up a required soul for the Graham fight. Hippo? Hippo. Slide. Slide's also good, but when we already have Giant Bat, it loses some of its importance. Though it's just a bit more convenient than Giant Bat as well. Oh yeah, so it looks like there is one check behind Graham. And the other one is going to be a piece of gear or like a healing item. For now I can head out this side of the top floor. This is the dead end I mentioned. You gotta hit this wrecking ball to break down the wall. And you can't do that from the other side. Bit of an interesting connection here. The good side of inner quarters compared to the other side we saw at the start. There's a save here before the boss fight, which is good because out of the 4 bosses remaining, one of them is Legion, and I don't want to fight Legion. Succubus in a canister is great because I couldn't afford to buy it earlier. That anti-venom is okay, I can sell it for money. But really I'm hoping here for a not bulky boss and not Legion. Headhunter, Vanilla Headhunter, this is great. It's a shop upgrade so I can get more gear. It's also a very easy boss. I believe it was plus HP as well though, so it might take a minute. Do I have any better red souls here? Maneater? Kind of. Headhunter is in 3 phases, each one has 700 health normally. It's stat random that can change. The 3rd phase is the worst one, because it has this poison breath attack, and poison lowers my defense and my attack, which just makes this fight take even longer. I'm dealing less damage than normally. Thankfully with Succubus I don't really have to worry about getting killed. I can just play it a bit slower than normal. That Alcer drop is not good. It's not the worst blue in the game, but it might be the 2nd worst blue in the game. This room is a bit laggy if you don't deal with enemies correctly, but that Olrock suit is well worth it. One of the best pieces of armor in the game. Not like top 5, but I think top 6 maybe. Maybe top 5, honestly. It's only competing with the gold plate, which is just, or gold plate and Eversing, which are just defense boosting, whereas the Olrox gives actual stats. For now I'm going to be skipping that warp point in inner quarters. Since it's so close to spawn, there's no reason to take it. However, now that I know what's here, I'm actually going to be heading back there just to check out what's in the shop. After that, I think I'll head to top floor and then back to dance hall, from which I can take the top exit. There's 2 shop bosses, Headhunter and Death. Each one will unlock another portion of the shop. And also talking to Mina heals you. That Death's Robe is amazing. That is arguably the best piece of armor in the game. In my circumstance, I think it definitely is the best piece of armor in the game. Because I have Manticore, which is a rush ult and its damage scales off of intelligence, which is what Death's Robe provides. So that's definitely going to be a must purchase. Pure Blood's okay. Lightning Bell is also really good. And I'll take Aranis, because if I run into Valor or Legion, getting some more XP from those fights will be quite nice. Let me remember to equip Death's Robe. There we go. Just some massive intelligence boost there. And also make me a lot tanky. I still don't have enough intelligence to one-shot these fuss attack zombies, though. You know, you get what you get. In this case, the zombies got more than I got. If this area check doesn't lead anywhere, I can also head back to Clock Tower and off to the top right exit of Clock Tower. And then there are also some flight checks that I haven't gone to in Castle Corridors. There's actually 3 area checks I haven't gone to in Castle Corridors. While I'm here, breakable ceiling. Yo. What just happened there was a Cataplepus zip. When the Cataplepus or Gorgon enemies turn around, and Soma is like landing on their back from moving a long distance, he'll get displaced relative to that distance he was moving. Something like that. It can actually throw you into the wall, in which case you'll do a zip. But this one didn't, thankfully, as zips and other such glitches are banned. We find Reservoir here. There's 7 major checks here out of a total of 21 in the area. This is also the water area, if you can tell. Plus HP Trident, but I take 2 damage from it. Okay. I'll head through this to see what's behind the waterfall. I just remembered I have a yellow book that's flight locked in corridors, so I should get that at some point. Now that is called Simply Cycle. I do not know why, but it helps deal with one of the worst rooms in the game. Medusa heads, moving platforms on a weird cycle, and a Arc Demon in the middle. So, you know, I'll take it. Duplicate backdash. This is a trick called Waterfall Climb. You're not supposed to be able to do this, but by entering and then exiting the waterfall, it refreshes your double jump. So you can constantly gain height like that. It gives me kicker. Not really what I want. But now for the other checks, you can use Waterfall Climb to get to the top, but I've never been good enough at it to do that. So instead, I'm just going to be thankful that we have Giant Bat. Hopefully that's not our required soul. Also, nice turn, doll. There's still 4 checks left here. I think I'm gonna head up and then out the top left side of Reservoir. There's that Arc Demon. I kind of divide Eastern or Reservoir into 3 parts. There's Eastern, Western, and the lower part. I'm going to kill this guy. Minus HP, very nice. So I can 2-shot this Cognizes. Take another safety save here. You really can never be too careful with stat rando. Never know when a gargoyle is going to walk in, deal 200 damage. Or when one of the final bosses is going to walk and deal 300 damage, actually. I don't need that. Nightmare, also really good soul. Ancient Belt, not the best accessory. Ramen's good, that's plus 500 HP, I believe. Ninja Study, only 1 check here, but I do want to do the boss here as well. Really, I should have probably gone back, checked that yellow book while I was near a warp point. But, you know, that's fine. This is a backdash lock door. We're gonna do a trick here where I squish my hitbox so I can see what that item is. In this case, it's a soul canister. I am hoping for a gray soul. I'm hoping for a hippogriff. Let's go. So Giant Bat was the first flight I got. It lets you turn into a bat. It's also, you know, a replacement for slide, whereas hippogriff, does not cost mana, unlike Giant Bat. You can use it without having to equip anything else, so you can fly and use Panther at the same time. It's also just easier to use, it's faster at going up. It's just better in most ways. Balor here, plus HP, plus attack, but he's weak to Holy. So in this case you get to see me equip Raunchiness. Normally you would never do this, but it hits for 177. Which is really good damage here. Balor normally has 4,000 health. With plus HP, he could have up to 8,000 health, I think. But dealing 200 damage a hit should make that go down really quick. And again, normally you would never see someone use Raunchiness against Balor if they have something like Durandal, I think. Well, I mean, maybe. I would never use Raunchiness against Balor, let me clarify. I'm kind of a Raunchiness hater most of the time. But in this case, it was definitely the optimal choice. I did forget to equip Aranus there, sadly. Which would have given me 20% more experience off that kill. Balor gives the most experience out of anything in the game, 16,000. I'm now level 18 from that. I can one-shot skeletons, let's go, dude. We've already seen everything in this area, and I'm feeling pretty loaded in terms of gear. So I'm going to start skipping some checks. I'm going to get a lucky charm for my troubles, though. I don't want to play it too dangerously, so I'm still going to take any checks that are really just like one screen away. Grab that for selling money. But I'm not going out of my way to do these item checks. In this case, it takes us to the other side of Clock Tower. So it looks like it's time to go back to a warp, and I can finally see what that yellow book says. I tried to do a thing there where you can clip through the cogwheel if you move left at the right time. But I did not move left at the right time. For our yellow book is Basilisk from Fishhead. That's not good. And I will explain why. The Basilisk Soul, as you may have read earlier, increases my defense in exchange for my physical stats. Basically, I deal less damage, but I have more health. This is not a good trade. You want to deal a lot more damage, more than you care about taking a bit less. Plus, the trade is not equal. You're exchanging a lot of your attack for that small defense boost. So the thing is with Ram 2, that's when you have to have these souls equipped. Oh, hey, here's gardens. I need to remember this. There's also nothing in it. That's good. With Ram 2, you have to have those souls equipped for the last hit. Normally, the thing with Basilisk, you deal less damage, so it would take way longer to get to that last hit. So you would want to not have it equipped for the majority of the phase, and then after you've dealt around 14-50 damage, you would equip it. The issue is, with Stat Rando, there is a decently high chance that Graham just has more health, or less health. And because the percentages are random, I can't really say how much more health he has, or how much less health he has. So it'll take a lot longer, and I can be less certain about when I have to equip Basilisk. But just in general, it's the worst Yellow Soul to have equipped for Graham, because it makes just the whole thing so much slower. That also exited to the last corridors exit I knew. So I'm headed back to Eastern Reservoir. There are 3 checks there. And I think it also exits to the arena. So we should find our last book there. That was a lot of damage. Big Golem does a lot of damage. I think that might also have been... I think that Big Golem's bugged, I've been told. Because I remember the other Big Golem didn't do that much damage. So I'm actually going to take a save state there to check on it later. I know I said there were 3 checks in Eastern, but I lied. One of them might be right here. There's this check sort of in the middle of everything. It's a tier 1. But now I can suspend out to get back to the start of this area. As you can see, Hippogriff just makes traversal a lot easier, a lot faster. Probably my second favorite soul. That Undine soul actually does open up another option. I do not believe that we have seen Behind Waterfall. And that you can only access using Undine and a Rush Soul, of which I have 3. 2 of them are the same. Arcdemon, very good yellow. So I might actually be forgetting an area connection. We'll see in a second. This does take us to Arena. 1 check here. This could just be the book. I got skill issued by that Skullmillion, really. He saw my exact moves before I made them. That jump there you can only make with Panther and Malthus. It's a way to skip over the edge, so you don't need flight to get up there. That said, with Hippo it's not really very necessary at all. Another great room for sleeping. It both saves the time backtracking and also the health that you would take by having to tank that giant skeleton again. I'm going to save here so I can reset out of these next 3 rooms. They're sort of challenge rooms, I guess you'd say. I'm not going to reset here because it's faster to run, but I probably will reset out of this next room if it doesn't give me what I want. We like to call this room worst room in the game. It is conveyor belts, it is Medusa heads, it is flying enemies. It also has a duplicate of the yellow book. So I'm resetting there. I can probably skip the arena boss. It's Legion. I've killed every other boss. So I am just waiting on... Okay, I know where I am. So the last area I haven't been to is Underground Cemetery, which is going to be behind Waterfall. So it's a good thing we went and got that Undine, as it looks like Cemetery is required, housing the last book. And you get here by standing on water and then running through the waterfall. So that's right, there's also Death. So it could have been the arena boss was Death, and this boss here is Legion. But I have to kill this boss anyways, so I guess we'll find out. Well, probably. There's a chance the book is right here, a 1 in 4 chance somewhere it gets placed. Let's go. Beat arena boss, so I guess I'm headed back there. Then this is one of those circumstances where it would have been faster for me to go kill the arena boss while I was there, so I wouldn't have had to backtrack to arena, through arena, and then through arena again. I could have just headed straight to top floor and started the final set of bosses. But I had thought that the arena boss was going to be Legion, so I thought it would be faster to skip the boss then and just hope that it wasn't going to be that boss required, basically. I was wrong. I'm not going to bother saving here. I should be fine. I have a lot of gear and a lot of healing. It is Legion. Alright. Well, let's hope for a good stat roll, because plus HP could take a while. What did I say? Actually, this is weak to fire. Nightmare is a fire soul. I have Arc Demon. So every time I take damage, I gain MP. So I can do this strategy. Looks like I'm actually going to be getting the Legion's core, the Legion's soul. I'm also going to equip the Aria soul here, as Legion does not give experience when it's killed. It gives experience once this baby, I guess, decides to disappear. So I got 28% more experience for that. That also is my last requirement. I have the 2 souls, so now I need to head to top floor where I can fight Graham and equip those 2 souls for the second phase. So let's go right there. I'm going to take a safety save here, because Graham is especially notorious with plus attack to be very scary. So I don't want to lose that progress in killing Legion. Let's see what he's weak to first. Weak to slash and weak to holy, resist water. In this case, again, another use for Randomizer here. Also going to equip Satan's Ring for a bit more damage and intelligence, as well as Manticore and Succubus. Genuinely, I want Arc Demon on. On to phase 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I messed up. So, in this case, I need to hit him 9 times and swap my souls, but I hit him 10 times. So you can see the wrong face here. So we're going to get to do that again. Thankfully, it's a pretty fast fight. It's also not plus HP or anything, so I do know how many times it hit. I just messed it up. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I equip Basilisk, Manticore. I drop from 150 to 60 damage. That's what Basilisk does to you, man. There we go. You can keep Manticore on for the 3rd phase. You can do it with just Randomizer, but I think it's easier to, you know, just do this back and forth. There we go. So killing Graham phase 2 with those souls on and then completing the fight puts us on the true ending path. So we can go get Galamoth. Woo! But also now we need to go to the Floating Gardens. Which you may remember were off the bottom of Reservoir. There we're going to fight the last of the Belmonts and the greatest Julius Belmont, who slayed Dracula for the last time in 1999. Julius is also very scary. He can hit very hard, but I should have the gear that I need to make it not that bad of a fight. Though if he has some weird resistances, I might be in trouble. As most of my gear is in Holy and Slash. Really just Slash, because Julius already resists Holy. So, you know, we're hoping. We're hoping. Floating Gardens is a bit of a maze. I had to turn around at that next section, which took me to this error room instead of the one that I had come from. Take the safety save, and let's see how Julius is going to be today. Plus HP, minus attack, plus defense. This sucks. Okay, no, it's not that bad. Never mind. I am being pessimistic. Gonna swap onto Satan's Ring because I have Arc Demon on. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the thing about Rush Souls, they scale off int, and they scale non-linearly. So even though Julius has a lot of defense, my sword's only dealing 20. The Rush Souls kind of go like straight through that. Which makes them a really good choice for this fight. Julius is not feeling the most cooperative today. I may also have noticed after every 4 hits I land on Julius, he does a stagger. Which I'm trying to use to get in my Manticore hits like that. But he hasn't been too nice this seed. Also, that counter resets every time he uses his dodge, which is called Omnia Vanitas. Oof. Didn't really want to take that hit there. Not until I had expended the rest of my MP. That's fine. There we go, on to phase 2. He starts pulling the castle apart with the strength of his Grand Cross. It's also pulling Soma towards him. He also starts using his sub-weapons. He also stops staggering. Damn. Oof. Bad series of hits there. And I was looking the wrong way. Please, Julius, be nice. This really just goes to show how long a plus HP Julius can take, even with the damage that Manticore Death Orb was doing. But we did it, took him down, and now we're entering the Chaotic Realm, the last area in the game. We can see there's 0 major checks here, which is actually good for us, because this area is the highest weighted in the game, so we can see some really good items. Rahab's is okay. It'll be really good if Chaos is weak to water. But really, I'm hoping for a Final Sword or an Excalibur. Excalibur, it's a secret weapon. You may not have seen it if you played this game before. You have to complete the boss rush to get it. But Excalibur is actually typeless, like all the other hammers. Yeah, Excalibur, famous hammer. So, typeless is not a resistance or weakness that any enemies have. So that makes Excalibur a very just all-around good weapon. Might not be as good as some of the weapons when they're weak to it, but if say Chaos is resisting Slash or is resisting Holy and that's your best option, then Excalibur is gonna just melt through that anyways. That was an Osafune. Levitain here is really good. It has a really good hitbox, which is good against Chaos because some crowd control is important there. It's also Fire Element, so if Chaos is weak to fire, we have an option there. One last safety save. Really shouldn't need this one. But you never know with how Chaos is. You can get comboed to death pretty easily in this fight. Let's see what we're working with. Weak to Slash. That's actually great. What is Levitain hit here? 142. How about Ranginus even? Yeah, so despite them being elemental weapons, they are also slash element. Levitain because sword, you know, Ranginus because spear. So they deal a bit more damage as weapons, and then due to that slash weakness, they're also dealing bonus damage with that. So I believe Levitain's going to be my weapon of choice for this one. That was also minus defense, so the core is actually going to have less defense here. The core is the only thing with defense in the Chaos fight. It's that little circle in the middle of the screen. So even with 0 eyes down, each one removes about 20 defense. I'm being already able to hit 19 damage on that. I should have equipped Arc Demon. Skill issue. There we go. I really probably should have chosen a different eye takedown. Now we're hitting 34 on the core, but I want to do a bit of experiment. If I use Manticore, I'm hitting 105. But while Manticore may be the strongest of the Rush Souls, Curly is actually slash element. Not good enough to make up the difference, sadly. Another little feature of this boss fight I'm going to show off here is that Chaos Snake Basically, everything in this fight counts as a hitbox for Succubus to heal off of. Essentially, the snake, when he stacks up like that, you can heal for like 20 a pop. So if you have Succubus, this fight is also very survivable. And that's time. Chaos is dead. Some very good, some pretty good weaknesses there. I wish I had Devil though, so I could actually outdamage Manticore thanks to a slash weakness. But yeah, that is the Castlevania Aria Randomizer. I love this randomizer. Mostly, usually. Sometimes it gives me a really bad Julius fight and I don't love it, but you know, you take what you can get. I hope that I adequately explained what was going on in that randomizer, and also that my mic wasn't too loud, because I'm not recording this again. GG's.